Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House?
Sure. Come on in.
They have cold beer and action on the game.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
It's time for the Degenerates Next Door.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Yo, pantyhose. My name is Jason Hammer. I do the Hammer and Nigel show in Indianapolis. Right across from me is former elected official number one rated radio host.
That's right.
The tax-cutting machine, Rob Kendall. And Rob, we got some big games on the slate by the big boys. We got the Big Ten and the SEC. They're kind of jockeying for some position. But I feel like we would be doing everybody a disservice if we didn't talk about what happened last week with our picks. I went 2-3. You went 2-3. For the first time since we started doing this show, each of us below 500 on college football in a week.
You tried your best, and you failed miserably. The lesson is, never try.
Yeah, we stink. I mean, not still line from Chevy Chase and Caddyshack. We're not good. You stink. You're not good.
But we've got options, right? We could sit around, bitch, and moan. I mean, you got done dirty. The difference between you having a winning week and losing week last week was that garbage-ass touchdown by UCLA.
Yeah.
And we're going to address UCLA coming up in just a little bit. But what if I told you, Rob, I've got a way that you can win your money back right now?
I love it.
In my hand, I bought you a lottery ticket.
Oh, hey!
One lottery ticket where you could win up to $1,500, a lottery scratcher from the Speedway gas station.
I love it. All right, what sort of game are we playing here? And by the way, I'll split whatever. Oh, it's moolah, and it looks like a cow.
Ooh, okay. So let me know when you're ready to scratch this off, because if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right.
All right, so it says find 3 like prizes and win that prize. Find 2 like prizes and a money symbol and win double the prize shown.
So you could win your UCLA money back.
Yeah.
Rob Kendall, are you ready to scratch?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Begin.
Here we go.
Rob Kendall scratching off the first part of the lottery ticket purchased from the gas station.
Oh, this is the QR code they'll scan to see if I won. Okay, very good.
Yes, don't scan the QR code, dipshit. Jeez.
$15,000.
That's the prize. You haven't won that yet.
Yeah, but it said $15,000. That'd be a nice one to win. $15. $15.
Uh-oh, you need one more 15.
I need one more 15.
One more 15, Rob.
One more 15.
Bring it home. Bring it home.
$15,000. I need a $15,000 or a 15.
Time's running out.
$100.
Oh,
One
no.
last chance. One last chance. $5. It's a nothing.
No.
It's a 0. I was so close.
So the lottery ticket just pulled a UCLA on you.
It is.
Got your hopes up,
Yep.
and then just took a big dump right on your chest.
Have you ever just wondered if you took the lottery ticket and if the guy would be too stupid and if you just said you won something, he'd just give you the money?
It doesn't work that way.
Really?
There was a hillbilly from Shelbyville, Indiana, that stole a bunch of lottery tickets and then tried to go back to the gas station to cash them in. Yeah, they have a barcode. They're assigned a number. You can't cut and paste. There's no collage work. Stop it. Just take your losses and go home.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so bad at everything, even scratching lottery tickets.
Well, look at it this way. You got your first loss of the week out of the way. Nothing but smooth sailing moving forward, Rob. Let's get into it. Indiana at Ohio State. The Buckeyes around a 13.5 point favorite if you shop around, over under 53.5.
All right, so I saw this everywhere from 10.5 to 13.5. The odds are like all over the place on this one.
1 week ago, if you saw the jump ahead line, it was just at 9.5. So big money is coming on the Buckeyes right now.
Yeah, so that's got me a little concerned. All right, here we go. So here's what we're thinking. And we're thinking positive this week, even though I'm 0 for 1 with the lottery ticket failure. By the way, watch you win $1,500.
I've got one that I'm holding off right now.
All right, so Ohio State has played 3 decent teams this year. Oregon, Penn State, and Nebraska.
And Nebraska's a bit of a reach.
Yeah, but I'm trying to give them credit where credit's due, right? Like, I'm stretching it here. They beat them by a combined 10 points. Penn State gave away 2 touchdowns from inside the 5-yard line. Why? Because old Franklin the Tanklin.
Big game James.
Yeah, found out Rob Kendall had bet on Penn State getting 3.5. They would have lost to Penn State if they hadn't done that. Statistically, IU has a better defense than Nebraska, and Nebraska held Ohio State to 21 at home. IU is the 20th best pass defense in the country in terms of yards allowed, and overall, they're giving up 255 yards a game, which is 3rd best in the country. Everybody talks about IU's offense. How about that defense? All this to be said, I don't think IU's the world beaters they've been made out to be, but there's a lot of ways, Hammer. A lot of ways you can cover 13.5 points. Like I said, I've seen 10.5 and 11 other places. I got Bet Rivers at 13.5. Wild line movement, so I'd hop on this if you want IU. I'll take IU getting 13.5.
So Rob is in on the Hoosiers. Let me take us to the SEC. It just matters more. Alabama at Oklahoma. Alabama is a 13.5-point road favorite. The over-under at 47.5. So Alabama, 8th in the nation in scoring at 39.5 points per game. And they're 10th in points allowed at just 16.9. And Bama is averaging 34 points per game on the road. And that's with only scoring 17 at Tennessee earlier in the year. So they've played at Tennessee, at LSU. There's nothing that Oklahoma is going to do that's going to scare Alabama. They've played on the big stages, loud crowds, and Oklahoma just can't score. And Bama has scored in their last few games, 34 against Missouri, 42 against LSU, and then 52 in a tune-up game against Mercer. Now, here's the thing that I'm a little leery about, Rob. I have bet on Alabama twice this year, and they've let me down each time. So, I'm taking this with extreme caution, but I just don't have faith in that Oklahoma offense. So here's what we're going to do.
Uh-oh.
Roll Tide. Oh, it's rolling, baby. It's rolling. We're taking one more chance on the Tide here. We're going to lay 13.5 Alabama at Oklahoma.
Well, Hammer, not to interfere in your Barry Manilow love fest over there, but if this were pro wrestling, you would hear the glass break and the stone cold music. And I would be running down with a steel chair in my hand into the center of the ring and whacking you over the head because I'm going to rain on your parade. I got Alabama minus 13.5 too.
You are also going with the Tide this week.
Yeah.
Now, the last 3 times we have picked the same game, it's not worked out.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that you're going to walk down, get into the ring, and totally screw up my Alabama bet.
I'm flipping middle fingers. I'm shooting a gun that says bang.
Okay.
Remember when Vince McMahon peed his pants?
It was a different time back then.
Yeah.
And now Vince McMahon pees for different reasons, depending on which lawsuit you read.
Alabama is 6-4 against the spread this year. Oklahoma's 5-5. So neither have been cover machines. But Alabama has Jalen Milroe. And if you take away a 59-point performance against Maine, why is Alabama playing Maine, by the way?
Well, I mean, everybody has that tune-up game, right? Bama has played Mercer, but they've also been at Tennessee, at LSU. So I think that warrants a few cupcakes along the way.
Yeah, I said Alabama. I'm in Oklahoma. Take away a 59-point performance against Maine. Oklahoma has scored 23, 14, 9, and 3 in their last 4 games. Which, remember when you were in school and they were like, you won't always have a calculator in your pocket? Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Lied to us.
Yeah.
Lied right to our faces.
I pulled out my little calculator there in my pocket known as a cellular telephone. And that's 12.25 points per game, which means if we go by just pure averages, Alabama needs to get to 26 points to cover. Now, if you take away that 52-point performance against Mercer, Alabama scored 42, 34, 17, and 27, which is an average of, thanks to the calculator in my pocket, 30. Oh, yeah, and Alabama beat Missouri 34-0, and Oklahoma got beat by Missouri by 7. Put them all together, Alabama laying 13.5.
Again, thanks for just crapping
No problem.
all over my pick.
That's what I do.
All right, let's see what our professional has in store. David Stephanoff of followneverfade.com. He's a big, hairy American winning machine. David, what are you looking at this week?
Hello, guys. First off, let's talk about the IU Ohio State game, guys. I heard Rob. Are you riding with Ohio State? I hear.
No, Indiana. I'm taking the 13.5 at Bet Rivers.
Wow, Hammer. Where you at?
I'm off the game, but gun to my head, I would lean Hoosiers with the points, but it's not a play for me.
I think it's the world against Indiana. It really is. I was in Columbus last weekend, guys, and these guys are. They've said this: if Ryan Day loses this game or Michigan, regardless, he's fired. I think Vegas shows you what the line was early and often. It was 9 last weekend.
Right.
Up at 11. Now it's 13.5. If you're going to bet Ohio State, you missed the bus. If you're going to take Indiana, 13.5 is probably the best you're going to get. I don't see Vegas going to 14 this number, but I'm with you guys. I can't bet with my heart or my head here. I'm rooting for Indiana just like you guys. But my game this week, you guys, I'm looking at is University. Is a Friday night game. Get a little early action, guys. Texas San Antonio playing Temple.
The Roadrunners. Okay, let's go.
Roadrunners against the Owls. Probably the Owls are one of the worst teams in college football, and they just canned their coach. And they made the defensive coordinator the head coach. Guys, all I'm going to say is this. Last 3 weeks, the Roadrunners have been running up the score. They've averaged 46 the last 3 weeks. Temple's averaged about 10 the last 3 weeks. And before that, the Roadrunners scored 38 and 27, respectively. I'm laying the 16 points Friday night. Free money comes early before Saturday. I'm going to lay the 16 points with the Roadrunners, 16.5 some places. I'm going to buy the hook on probably lay the 16 points with the Roadrunners of Texas San Antonio against the Temple Owls. I see a lot of points coming early and often. Temple, a lot of guys have heard of left the program. I just think it's an easy play, easy Friday night play for everybody out there. But hey, thank you guys for following me, Rob and Hammer. Always thank you again. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. College basketball is heating up, you guys. College football is winding down. This Thanksgiving weekend, you have tons of college basketball action on your TV with a lot of neutral games. IU is going to be available everywhere. But you can reach me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Follow me, message directly, hit the website up, followneverfade.com. I'll take care of you guys. But thank you again, guys. Have a great week. We're going to take the Roadrunners, lay the 16 versus Temple, and don't forget to follow Never Fade.
All right, keeping it in the SEC, a team that looked really good for about a half last week is Tennessee. Unfortunately, they looked awful in the second half. Even worse than that, they looked good in the first half, and for those who had under totals in the first half, it was a big middle finger. So Tennessee placed Georgia to a standstill between the hedges. Physical game, running the football, they're up 10-0. But then Tennessee doesn't score in the second half, and they allow Carson Beck to look like Matthew Stafford back there carving them up. And now it's a bounce-back spot for Tennessee. They are at home taking on UTEP. Texas El Paso. Past the old El Paso, Tennessee is a 41.5-point favorite, Rob. Now, here's what we know. UTEP lost 40-7 to Nebraska earlier this year.
Oh, that's not good.
They lost by 20 to Sam Houston. They lost by 37 to Western Kentucky, and they only scored 13 points at home to Middle Tennessee State. Tennessee, on the other hand, they beat the brakes off of bad teams. Josh Heupel can't beat Georgia, but he can beat the hell out of bad teams. Earlier this year, 69-3 over Chattanooga, 71-0 over Kent State. And coming off a nasty loss like last week, where Tennessee definitely needs the style points, Josh Heupel's the type of dude that's going to run up the score. Lay 41.5, take Tennessee at home in a bounce-back spot. All right, going to take a little break here. When we come back, Rob Kendall, you will talk Notre Dame. Notre Dame is on the road. Technically a neutral site game, but they're on the East Coast against Army, Yankee Stadium. Rob will have action on that. When we come back, we are the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door. And this weekend, get your American flags out. Start singing the Star-Spangled Banner because it's Notre Dame against Army. Yankee Stadium, Rob. Notre Dame is a 14.5-point favorite, over under 44.5 as Notre Dame takes on unbeaten Army.
All right, so here we go. Army's offense, really good against Tulsa, East Carolina, and UAB. Well, Hammer, as they used to say on ESPN, welcome to the big show. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Army runs the ball well, but their passing game isn't great. And by not great, I mean it doesn't really even exist. Notre Dame defense is really good, and they're going to eat that run for Army alive. Last game, Army ran the ball against North Texas, the Mean Green, who I know you're very fond of.
I love the Mean Green.
For 293 yards. Hammer, would you like to guess how many yards Army passed for in that game?
How many?
15. Would you like to guess for the whole frickin' season how many passes their quarterback has attempted?
How many?
51. The whole effing season, he's attempted 51 passes. So good luck with that against Notre Dame. Notre Dame has scored 35, 52, 51, and 31 in their last four. Army's defense is good, but they haven't seen anything like Notre Dame. I'll take Notre Dame laying 14.5.
So Rob Kendall hates America,
yes,
ladies and gentlemen. Rob Kendall hates the Army, and he's going with Notre Dame. I'm going to do you a favor this week, Rob.
Well, thank you.
I'm going to take care of you.
Great.
I know that you have been betting on UCLA all year long.
Boy, howdy.
And I know that you have not had any success betting on UCLA all year long, correct?
Oh, my gosh, no.
So here's what I'm going to do. Even though I find you to be a very petty man.
Yes, thank you.
A very vindictive, very small man that smells like cabbage and has an overly hard handshake considering your height, I'm going to be a good friend, and I'm going to knock out the bully. I'm going to take on UCLA this week.
Oh, thank goodness.
Little late night action on a Saturday. USC at UCLA. USC is a 5-point road dog just across the street, and the over-under is 51.5. So the USC passing attack, I think, is going to be too much for UCLA to overcome. If you've watched UCLA this year, yes, they've gotten better as the year goes on. They kind of got depantsed by Washington last week, but I think they've gotten better as a whole. But Troy Aikman ain't running out of that tunnel. Mark Harmon is not running out of that tunnel.
He was great as Ted Bundy in the made-for-TV movie.
He was. Former UCLA quarterback Mark Harmon, also very underrated in Summer School.
That's right, with who's the woman?
Kirstie Alley.
Thank you, yes, from Cheers. Yes, thank you.
So they're not coming out of that tunnel, and I think Miller Moss can actually sling it a little bit. If you look at the numbers here, Miller Moss of USC, 2,555 passing yards, 18 touchdowns, 9 picks. UCLA's quarterback, Ethan Garbers, 2,174 yards, 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And what we've seen here with UCLA is if they get behind, they're going to have a hard time catching up because they can't pass the ball. So I'm going to lay 5 points here, USC. This game always feels like it's a bigger deal for UCLA than it is USC, but I think they're going to get off and beating the hell out of little brother in this one. Take the Trojans, -5. Rob, this one's for you.
Thank you.
This is like when Eli Manning had to beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl to avenge all those ass whippings Peyton took in the playoffs.
Thank you.
Now, a team that you also bet on quite a bit, the Iowa Iowa Hawkeyes, hat tip to Don Fisher. They're at Maryland. Iowa, 6.5-point road favorite, over under 46.5.
All right, Maryland's not very good, and they do give up some points. But Cade McNamara is the quarterback for Iowa. Now, this is if he can play and stay healthy. If he doesn't, then Iowa's on their fourth-string quarterback at this point. Here's the stats for Cade McNamara. 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 37.6 QBR. Iowa has also lost its last 3 road games. They only have 1 road win all year. Maryland has scored 28, 28, and 23 in 3 of their last 4 games. If they can get to 21, that means Iowa would have to get 28 to beat me. I'll take my chances. I'll take Maryland getting 6.5 at home.
That's asking a lot out of Cade McNamara, I feel like. That's asking a lot for Iowa on the road. I like that one. How about Missouri at Mississippi State? This game is down in Stark, Vegas, and Mississippi State. I'm trying to think of the polite way to say this, but they're awful. They are god-awful. Their fans are going to be loud. They're going to cheer with those stupid-ass cowbells.
But the last time I checked, we don't have a whole lot of songs that feature the cowbell.
The cowbells are loud, but the football team sucks. I mean, it's just the real reality.
You ever been next to somebody at a high school football game that had a cowbell?
I have not.
Lucky you.
I've seen people put pennies into like the big jug, like the water cooler jug, and shake that.
Oh, those people are so annoying.
That's pretty deafening.
You go, you cheer. You bring in a kazoo with you. That's inappropriate.
If you have to bring in fake noise, then you're not a loud enough fan base.
That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
So Missouri, 9-3 against the spread in their last 12 games on the road. 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 games played in November. Mississippi State, on the other hand, 1-8 straight up in their last 9 games, 0-10 straight up on their last 10 games against SEC teams, and 0-7 straight up in their last 7 against SEC Old Eastern Division squads. Fancy talk for all they have at Mississippi State are hillbillies and cowbells.
But the last time I checked, we don't have a whole lot of songs that feature the cowbell. And I'd be doing myself a disservice and every member of this band if I didn't perform the hell out of this.
There will not be enough cowbell in Stark, Vegas this weekend. Give me Mizzou, Missouri, and I'm going to lay 7.5. All right, going to take a little break. When we come back, Rob and I each have some early action for you. You heard our professional handicapper earlier, David Stephanoff of Fall and Never Fade. He's got Friday action for you. Rob and I also have a little early action. That's next. Back on the Degenerates Next Door, I'm Jason Hammer. Rob Kendall is here, and if you can't wait until Saturday, we got you. We got you. Our pro, David Stephanoff, he's already on the Roadrunners of UT San Antonio on a little Friday night action. It kind of feels like that was an unofficial Degenerate Special earlier, Rob.
Didn't it? Mm-hmm.
And it kind of feels like this Big Ten game you want to talk about kind of fits the category of a Degenerate Special. I know it's a big conference. I know there are teams that traditionally have pretty good basketball programs, but boy, Purdue at Michigan State on a Friday night. Whew. You are a diehard if you're making plans for the weekend and you're saying, you know what? We're not going to go out and celebrate the holidays. We're not going to go out to those high school regional football games. We want to watch the worst team in the Big Ten take on another bad team in the Big Ten outside at night in the cold in East Lansing.
Oh, that was the grossest thing I've ever heard in my life.
But you're here for it. You love this kind of crap. So, Rob, I hear tickets may be available for this one. Walk me through Purdue at Michigan State. Sparty is laying 13.5 over under 48.5.
All right, I'm making a weather call here, Hammer. Ingham County, Michigan is calling for low 40s and rain Friday night.
Tickets are available.
Now, this is a huge risk because both of these teams' defenses stink. But Purdue is averaging just 17.2 points per game. Michigan State's run defense isn't bad, and that's what Purdue does pretty well. So I'm betting on bad weather, causing Michigan State to have to keep it on the ground as well and run some clock. And if Purdue gets 17, then Michigan State would have to get 32 to beat me. I'll take that chance. I'll go under 48.5.
What an awful game to go to. Other than parents and maybe a few students that know some of the players, would you be at this game? Let's say Rob Kendall is a hard partying, but also very studious college student at Michigan State University. It's Friday night. You got frat parties, you got bars, you got house parties. You going to go watch Purdue at Michigan State in the cold outside at 8 o'clock?
No, and here's why. Like, if this game is in August or September, then maybe, because the chicks are looking fine and they're looking hot and they're wearing, hot stuff. They're going to be in sweaters. What am I getting out of sweaters?
Where are we at with chicks that overly dress for football games, though? Like, we've all been there, right? Like, listen, I love to watch hot chicks just like any other red-blooded American man. But sometimes there are the chicks that go to the football game that they're a little too overly dressed. The stiletto heels, like all that kind of stuff. Like, to me, you could be a smoking hot chick with a baseball hat, ponytail sticking out, and like your pink little jersey shirt on that shows off some rack.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think the chicks, you're not going to the Met Gala, right?
Correct.
You're going to a football game.
Right.
No, totally. You got to dress the part. So to answer your question, no, I'm not going to this game. Whatever the East Lansing equivalent of Broad Ripple is, that's where I would be.
All right, so again, David Stephanoff, his pick, not the Degenerate Special. Rob Kendall, Purdue, Michigan State, not the Degenerate Special. This is the Degenerate Special.
It's time for Hammer's Degenerate Special.
Look, anybody can put a bet down on Indiana and Ohio State, or Alabama, Oklahoma. But the real degenerates, they're getting the beer on ice, they're getting the wings in the smoker. All their rowdy friends are coming over for a Wednesday night maction, baby. Buffalo at Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan, a 1.5-point home favorite. The over-under is 54 points. Eastern Michigan, little tail of the tape here, right? We all just got done watching the Tyson-Jake Paul thing. I don't want to call it a fight, but it was a thing. So here's a little tail of the tape. Eastern Michigan averages 3 more points per game than Buffalo, 11 more plays per game than Buffalo, and 5 more minutes in terms of possession than Buffalo. At home, Eastern Michigan averages 30.6 points per game. On the road this season, Buffalo has only averaged 16.6 points on the road. Buffalo's really good at home. They stink on the road. Buffalo gave up 48 points to Ball State last weekend. The same Ball State that was just waiting to lose the game so they could fire their coach, who is also an alum. That's how bad Ball State wanted to fire their coach. And Buffalo almost screwed around and lost to those guys last week. The last 3 road games Buffalo has played, they've given up 30, 47, and 47. Buffalo is 109th in the nation defensively. Eastern Michigan, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10. And Buffalo, who started the year off pretty good, fallen off a cliff. Just 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 games. Ain't no party like a Ypsilanti party on a Wednesday night. We're going to lay 1.5 with Eastern Michigan. That is your Degenerate Special. Now, Rob, I got a serious question for you.
Yes.
I want you to think about this, okay? Don't just rush into an answer. Are you ready to get nuts?
All right, want to get nuts? Come on.
Let's get nuts! Lights out! Now you want to get nuts! Come on! Let's get nuts.
You ready to get nuts, Rob?
I am, Hammer, and this pick is actually inspired by your totally insane parlay of championships bets last week that we talked about on the Let's Get Nuts segment.
Still alive.
Still alive. Boston has not lost the play-in tournament yet.
They've lost their only cup game, which is a little troublesome for me, but I think they play again tonight or tomorrow. So they got to knock off the undefeated Cavaliers, and that's a bracket game.
Oh, okay, very good. Well, here is inspired by that. my thinking. Oregon is the best team in college football right now, and you can get them at plus 440 to win the national championship. Now, that's some decent odds, but it's not quite nuts. You know who's really underappreciated right now? The Los Angeles Chargers. You and I were texting about this, in fact,
right
on their Sunday night football game. They're good, and you can grab them right now at 25-1.
Have defense will travel.
Which is okay, but is that really nuts? 25-1 by itself, not quite nuts. 4-1, 4.5 to 1, not quite nuts. But what if you paired them together? The best team in college football paired with the team who is on the ascend and likely to make the playoffs.
Okay, talk to me.
Put them together, Oregon to win the national championship, the Chargers to win the Super Bowl, and you get, I don't even know what this number is, plus 13940. That's a lot of numbers. And I do know that it means if you made a $5 bet, it'd pay you $697.
All right, want to get nuts? Come on.
Let's get nuts! Lights out! Now you want to get nuts? Come on! Let's get nuts.
Love it. Love it. All right, let's recap the board here. And now that I've got my picks just all written in front of me, like I hate myself. I'm a chalk-eating weasel this week. I've got all the favorites, and I hate being a chalk-eating weasel. Hat tip to Kelly Stewart for that term. But this is where I think the action is. So, again, boo me if you want.
Boo this man!
I am a chalk-eating weasel. I got Bama minus 13.5. Tennessee minus 41.5. USC minus 5. Missouri minus 7.5. And Eastern Michigan, your Degenerate Special on a Wednesday night. We're going to lay 1.5. And again, I hate myself.
Boo this man!
Rob.
I've got Alabama laying 13.5 at Oklahoma. I got Indiana getting 13.5 against Ohio State. I got Michigan State and Purdue under 48.5. Notre Dame laying 14.5 against Army, and Maryland getting 6.5 at home against Iowa.
Those are our plays. You could bet with us. You could bet against us. But I promise you, you won't outdrink us. My name is Jason Hammer for Rob Kendall, for David Stephanoff of followneverfade.com. We will talk to you on Thursday for the NFL edition, where pro handicapper Kenny Britt will join us. As always, may the odds be ever in your favor, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.